Hello and welcome to my channel Balkan Aesthetics. In this video, I'm going to be discussing why you should always judge a book by its cover. One of the first things you have to do as someone who wants to come out of the world, right? Like Christ tells us, we need to come out of the world, not to partake in the things of the world. One of the things we're taught growing up, or a particular kind of wisdom of the world, is to not judge a book by its cover. And I'm here to tell you that that piece of wisdom is a bold-faced lie. Growing up, we're told that we should give people a chance to show us who they really are and to not make face judgments as soon as we meet the people. However, in my experience in life, I've noticed that it's not the case, okay? There is a reason why certain people look the way they do. And we're taught growing up that it's not their fault. That's just how they were born. That's, something that's out of their control, right? It's something that they've never really had control over, right? But I'm here to tell you that is a type of satanic way of thinking, right? To never judge a book by its cover. Let me give you an example, right? If you look at any kind of animal in the animal kingdom, right? An animal that's cute, fuzzy, fluffy, looks harmless is because that animal is harmless, right? You take a bunny or a cat or a mouse or a little bird, right? It looks cute because it's not harmless, right? You instinctively know by looking at it that it doesn't really pose a threat to you because it looks friendly, right? We have that intuition in our minds that tells us automatically, oh, this isn't a critter that we have to worry about. It looks very friendly, right? And if you go on the opposite end of the spectrum, right, you look at predators like wolves and lions and tigers and bears, right? They look the way they do because they are ferocious, right? That trait about them is reflected in how they look, right? And it's a signal for you to think twice before getting too close to them, right? Another example would be if you look at a snake, right? Like a cobra. It looks vicious because it is vicious, right? I don't think anybody's ever seen a snake and thought, oh, that thing looks harmless, let's go and play with it. No, you see a king cobra, you're going to say, yeah, that doesn't look friendly at all. We're going to stay away from that, right? So with that same type of wisdom, you can apply it to people, right? If somebody looks like a pig, that's because they harbor traits of a pig, right? They're gluttonous. They always look to have a good time, right? They prioritize pleasure over anything else, right? They have that hedonistic mindset, right? If you look into the Bible, I don't know what book it is. I think it's Leviticus, when God is describing the food laws, right? You shouldn't eat this, you can eat this, you shouldn't eat this, right? It wasn't actually talking about what you should and shouldn't eat. It was actually on a spiritual level describing the kind of people that you should and shouldn't associate with, right? So if you go back to the example of a pig, right? If someone looks like a pig, you probably shouldn't associate with that person because they prioritize things that a pig prioritizes, which is just food, right? And if you notice, right, a pig will only squeal when it needs food from its master, right? As soon as the master gives it food, the pig forgets that the master was even there. And that's most people, right? They only want to spend time with you because they get something from you. And those are the kind of people you just stay far away from. So to expand this topic further, right, by telling you that you should judge a book by its cover, if you meet somebody, okay, and they look creepy to you, okay? And I'm not saying creepy like women say creepy when they're not attracted to a guy. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about you having to be a good-looking person to be a good person. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you meet somebody, right, And for some reason, they give you the heebie-jeebies. They look kind of sketchy. There's something off about them, right? There's something unsettling about the way they look. That isn't by chance. That isn't by happenstance that they look that way, right? The soul in that body that you are looking at is what shapes how that face looks, right? People's faces look the way they do because that is the kind of person that they are, right? There's a reason why certain faces look wise, certain faces look, intimidating, warrior-like, because it reflects the inner soul, the inner man or woman that you're speaking with, right? So that's why you should always listen to your gut, right? Or the Holy Spirit, which is your discernment. If it's going off and it's giving you this uneasy feeling when you're talking to somebody, chances are that person is someone you shouldn't be messing with. And people might get upset when I say this, but we're not supposed to be talking to everybody when it comes to Christ. We're not supposed to be evangelizing to everybody, okay? Most people, in fact, 99% of people aren't really worth your time when it comes to talking about God. Your job is to use your discernment. And part of that discernment is to judge a book by its cover to see if that person has a soul that would be receptive to Christ, right? If they belong to the Father. Let me see if there's anything else I want to add. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So just to recap, you should always judge a book by its cover. If someone looks creepy, that's because they are creepy. And don't feel bad for feeling a certain way about someone. That's the Holy Spirit warning you that you shouldn't be wasting your time with them and that you should be careful about being around those types of people. So if this video resonated with you, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, please do so. If you want to leave a comment down below for any future content you'd like me to make, feel free to do so. And once again, all glory goes to Christ. Without him, we are nothing. See you in the next video.